What's the deal, YouTube? It's your boy NextGen720, and I am back with another video. I was going to wait a week to give you guys my review of the PS4 Pro, but I'm going to give you, like I said today, I've been fooling around with it all night, and I'm going to give you guys my honest opinion. All fanboy stuff, all Xbox and pony stuff put aside. If you don't have it, should you upgrade to it? If you want to call it an upgrade. Now, there have been several reviews on YouTube, all over different sites. A lot of people reporting that the PS4 Pro is performing worse, or games are performing worse on the PS4 Pro than they are on this PS4, Slim or Vanilla, whatever the case. And that is the truth. You know what I mean? In my honest opinion, if I'm going to hit my man here to say from Digital Foundry, and I think with the people that are not pleased with it is that they were expecting a huge leap from what we already had. And I can honestly say, once the honeymoon phase wears off, that's not the case to be. And right now, and this is me speaking the truth here. You know what I mean? I wasn't, this is me being a consumer here. I wasn't given a review of console. This is me spending $400, actually $500, $450 with taxes, and then $60 for the 2-year replacement plan for Best Buy, more or less. You know what I mean? People were expecting a leap, a jump in performance, overall visuals, and it's not so much the case. You know what I mean? It's on a game-by-game case scenario, you know what I mean? Which shouldn't be the case. If you're just going by what's on paper, we have a console that's twice as powerful as the vanilla PlayStation 4. But the games are not performing 2 times better. In some games worse. Or they're not really looking 2 times better in some games worse. And I kind of blame it on Sony for the parity. That they're not allowing developers to make games exclusively for the PS4 Pro to optimize the hardware. You know what I mean? Look at it like this, and even though the PS4 Pro really isn't the Xbox One S competition, it's going to be the Scorpio. But and this is not no fanboy shit here. With the Xbox One S being the fact that it has a faster GPU and CPU. Games perform better, at least 7 to 11% better. It's a game-by-game case percent, but they don't perform worse on the Xbox One S. You are getting, the upscaling to 4K. Some games have HDR, the 4K Blu-ray player. But games are performing better for those that are into counting frames and stuff. They're not performing worse. Now, according to Sony, if you wanted your game to get a licensing from them and to have your game on their platform, games cannot perform worse. And even from their own first-party game studios, like you take a game, prime example, The Last of Us Remastered, which is a PS3 game. We're talking about, again, a console or mid-cycle fresh console, 4.2 teraflops. Can't run that at a 4K native locked 60 frames per second. And that right there in itself is a little alarming, should I say, for those that are all about, because this generation, to be honest here, has been all about frames per second and resolution. So, so that's a little alarming that they can't run a game that came out in 2012, 2012, I believe, at 4K 60 on the PS3. You know what I mean? And what's crazy about that is that the standard vanilla PlayStation 4 is a lot of times running it at a higher frame rate, about between 2 to 5 frames for those that count that. And another thing, and again, the games are running at a higher resolution, but they're really not looking any better. When you sit back, when the honeymoon phase is, they're not implementing right now. I didn't see any extra PC textures, or what I even say PC textures. A lot of tessellation, a lot of particle effect. We're not getting that right now. Maybe that will change in the future. This is just the launch. and the console is just coming out. Now listen here, this is not no fanboy stuff. This is mano a mano. Me just talking to you, the average Joe consumer. If you don't have a 4K TV with HDR, do not buy a PlayStation 4 Pro. I got to see it yesterday on the standard 1080p TV, and there is no difference. First of all, 1080p TVs don't support HDR, first of all. And then you put it in, 1080p with all the bells and whistles turned up. I really couldn't tell the difference. And that's just my honest opinion. You know what I mean? Not my neighbor next door. He still is my neighbor. We live on the same block. His son, Joshua, even though he's his son, I met his father out there shoveling goddamn snow, breaking our backs, whatever. Son finally watches my channel. Son's about 24, whatever the case. He has a PS4 or whatever. And I saw him at Dunkin' Donuts, and he's like, he picked up the PS4 Pro, but he doesn't have a 4K TV. So I just said, come on, and I wanted to see how it looked, because at the end of the day, I don't have a 1080p TV in my house. That's why I said I stayed at 4K MC. So, and I couldn't tell the difference with, 1080p. He was playing Uncharted. No, I'm trying Uncharted, Tomb Raider. And I really couldn't tell the difference. Then he had the Last of Us. Again, I really couldn't tell the difference. And this is not me nitpicking. This is just me being honest. So I'm telling you guys, if you don't have a 4K TV with HDR, there's no need for you to get the PS4 Pro right now. Also, like I said, and another thing I know, a lot of people that are not happy with the PS4 Pro is the fact that they were expecting a leap over what we have. And I'm going to say this. And if you listen to Microsoft, even with the Scorpio, if it's not going to look better than really what we have now, we're just going to say 4K 60, we don't need it. We're going to go out and be buying these new consoles, whether it be $500 to $600, whatever the Scorpio is going to cost. The Pro was $400, and now at the end of the day, and I will say this: had I paid more than $400 for the Pro, and maybe say $500, whatever the case may be, and not got that you know what I mean? Oh, I would probably have been upset too. But me, I'm fine. I traded my standard PS4 in when they were giving back $200 for it. And so I knew that the PS4 Pro was coming out when no one believed me. So I said, you know what, I'm going to want the new hardware. So I took it, got more bang for my buck. And I didn't have a PS4 for a couple months. I'm down to play Street Fighter and all this stuff like that. But at the end of the day, but let's listen to my man here. I'm gonna come back
from the base PlayStation 4. Now, in theory at least, this just shouldn't be allowed to happen. Leaked documents from Sony that we saw many months ago detail technical requirements that demand that PlayStation 4 Pro games run at the same frame rate or better than the base PS4 version of the same title.
Yeah.
And while the majority of games do adhere to this requirement, some don't. A few weeks back, we showed that Mantis Burn Racing had some minor fluctuations
that's an
in
indie game.
its native 4K Pro mode that are with 2x-inch 4K display, and we were genuinely blown away by it. The 30
HDR is second to
mode
none.
runs at native res and doesn't miss a beat, and the HDR is just epic. But the 60 FPS mode, well, rendering there drops to 1800p, which is fair enough, but the point is that, as Tom discovered in his recent analysis, sustained drops beneath 60 FPS on base PS4 hardware are actually worse on the Pro. On top of that, areas where the standard console runs locked at 60 FPS can see performance drops on the Pro. Okay, so here's the thing.
Yeah, so, what I mean? Which I don't understand again is because I don't know if it's down to Sony's software with the API that they use. You know what I mean? And why this is happening. For those that really care about the frames and the resolution and stuff. But again, you can't say that you don't for those that, because this is what this whole generation has been about. Frames per second and resolution. I will say this to round this all, because I'm not to get too long with it. These mid-gen upgrades or mid-cycle is going to extend the life cycle with the console generation from both Microsoft and Sony. We may get another 8 or 9 year console generation like we had with the Xbox 360 and the PS3. If developers don't start to fully optimize games built from the ground up to take advantage of the PS4 Pro hardware, and even with the Scorpio, there's no reason to buy these consoles. You know what I mean? You shouldn't have a console that's half as powerful running games better. You know what I mean? And when you say the 1080p 60 frame mode, the games are not even locked 60 frames. It's an unlocked camera, like when Tomb Raider. But you're not getting that pop. You know what I mean? What you were expecting. And I think a lot of people that were disappointed with the Pro, and I'm not saying it's a bad console, because if you like your PS4 Pro, your PS4 vanilla, you're going to like the PS4 Pro. You know what I mean? Just plain and simple. But if you were expecting this huge leap forward, because come on, it's twice as powerful. Sony was touting the PS4 as the world's most powerful console. So you think, oh shit, twice as powerful, let me get on this. But you're not going to get that experience day one. You're not. Whatever. You know, you're going to see initial little pop, but like, damn, if you already have a PS4, is it really worth it? And right now I can't say yes, that it is. And just me being honest. You know, maybe you want to see for yourself. Kudos. You know what I mean? I'm not saying that it's all doom and gloom, but right now, I can honestly say that there's no need to upgrade until, you know, developers really start hammering shit home. Maybe, hopefully, with Sony, with their Spider-Mans and the God of Wars and stuff, like they really just, you know, go all out. But for console parity and no one left behind, it kind of sucks. Because, again, you know, you got all this, you know, tap power, supposedly. Quote unquote, I would like the developers to take full advantage of that. And I don't know that Sony has to invest more in the API or whatever the case may be, but you should get at least twice the level of performance that you're getting in the standard PS4. And maybe it's down to the CPU, because they just stay with those same Jaguar core CPU, that same Jaguar CPU, which is very, very shitty. You know what I mean? But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. If you got the PS4 Pro, you had it for a day or two now, what are your honest opinion? Are you loving it? Or you playing on the 4K TV with HDR? Like right now, I got the KS9000 behind me. And I'm not saying the games look bad. No. But if you're going to be expecting to be really, really blown away, you got to put your expectations in check. You know what I mean? After the little official, you know, honeymoon phase wears off, you know what I mean? It's a little brighter. But, you know, to say you got to go out and buy a new console for it, trading your data, transfer and all that shit, not right now. I can't say that I can honestly recommend this thing, you know. But this is me being real, you know what I mean? But as always, you know, it is what it is. Now, if you don't have a 4K TV with HDR, for those who say that 4K is not a big deal in HDR, no. 4K and HDR is a huge deal. You know what I mean? Don't trick yourself. 4K, especially with HDR, is a very big deal. You know what I mean? But I can see, like, you know what I mean, even like you kind of comparing it to the Xbox One S, to the PS4 Pro, may not be too that big of a bad comparison, just being honest, with what we have right now as far as performance, because games are not looking that much more better than what you get on the Xbox One S with 4K and HDR. That's just my honest opinion. But this is your boy NextGen720. I'm out of here, man. Leave me a comment down below. Bang, bang.